Welcome to the worst channel on YouTube. Just thank you. Hello, my name is the Hipster Wolf, or Dragoon Wolf, or just Wolf Cunt if you want to call me that. Today I'm going to be telling you guys a new video, and yes, I promise I'm going to be making new uploads, and this time I actually mean it. Today I'm going to be giving you guys a little bit of special on how to get better at Titanfall 2. Now, even though I just got this game only about maybe a couple of weeks ago, I just want to give you guys a couple of tips that I don't exactly think will help you, but I think will only help specific players. But the key thing about Titanfall 2 is picking your Titan. Now, I think picking a Titan is probably the most important thing when it comes to the entire game, because Titans are basically the most important thing about this game. If you don't know what a Titan is, it's basically a giant freaking robot, essentially. I'll tell you what some of the Titans are. Ion is a Titan that's usually for more calculated gameplay, usually like the standard or the easy mode, if I would say. Scorched Titans are usually made for a tankier and more unstoppable type playstyle. North Stars are basically sniper Titans in anywhere. Ronins, as you can see from the gameplay, are more hit and run type tactic Titans and are more used for taking out enemies at a close distance. Legion Titans, like this guy in front of me, are for people who don't want to stop shooting their gun. Monarch is for people who are more tactical, and Tone is for people who are just total garbage people. Now the second part about Titanfall is not just the Titans, and the Titans are probably the most appealing moment of the game. While I personally think that playing as the pilot, who is the character that you're playing as normally, is more exciting. Now, the first thing about being a Titan is you have to pick what type of playstyle you want to be. Are you more of a fast-paced kind of guy? Are you a Titan hunter? Are you more of a hit-and-run type playstyle? Are you more of a sniper character? Then, well, you come to the right guy then. What I personally think is I'm more of a hit-and-run type playstyle where I do a ton of damage, but I also can't take a lot of damage. So, if you're more recommended in more of a hit-and-run type playstyle, I would recommend being either the phase dash or not phase dash, either phase dash or stim, where stim basically makes you go to supersonic mode essentially, and will make you run almost twice as faster, while basically phase dash is basically where you basically phase into another dimension, and this is more useful for CQC type combats, aka close quarters combat. Now, if you're more of a Spider-Man-ish type player, if you like zipping around the map as fast as Sonic the Hedgehog that isn't stim, use grapple, which is basically you can grapple other enemies if you aim directly at them, and it has to be pretty precise, because if you miss, and I mean if you miss even like 1 square inch of a pilot when you're using grapple, you will not kill anything. I swear, you will kill literally nothing. But it is pretty satisfying. And there's also another tip, is getting your score, and if you want to show how good of a guy you are. There are lots of AI enemies. For example, there's Grunts, there's Spectres, there's Reapers, and each of them count for a certain consecutive amount of points. Grunts and Spectres usually count for 1 point, while Reapers count for about 4 points. If you kill enemy pilots, that'll usually contribute about 5 or 10 points depending on what position that they're in. And killing Titans will grant you 15 to 10 points depending on what type of gameplay you're using. So if you kill enemies, it'll make you grant your Titan faster. If you kill enemies, it'll charge up your meter to where you call in your Titan. And everyone asks, oh yeah, you can do other things for Titans, but what other things can I do just for strictly my pilot? Well, another thing about pilots is that I'm more of a assault rifle, shotgun, revolver type playstyle, where my guns don't do the most amount of damage, but they do a substantial amount of damage to the point where I can finish my enemy in a consecutive and more of a quick amount of time, rather than just me using a rocket launcher and repeatedly killing people, which is ample. And I think the one rifle I think I should recommend at the very beginning of the game is the R201, which is basically the most accurate and the most fast-firing assault rifle in the entire game. It's the first rifle you unlock at the very beginning of the game. Another tip that I also recommend, don't play the multiplayer the second you get the game. I would recommend getting through at least half of the first single player and repeatedly doing the gauntlet, which is basically the training missions at the very beginning of the game. Where you can do this, it basically shows you how to wall run, what to do if there's certain types of enemies, what grenades, what types of weapons to use in situations. It's a very useful tactic, and I think it really should be spotlighted, because I think it's probably one of the most useful training areas. So try playing that in like the first 20 minutes of the game, and if your game is still uploading, you can play it while your game is uploading when you first download it, so you can spend about a couple of hours trying to beat your time or trying to do the best you could possibly do. The next thing I recommend is for people who are more quickscope type players, and if you want to have I would say probably the most substantial and the most euphoria feeling effect when you kill people with a sniper rifle is I'd recommend using the Kraber or the double take. What I personally think is that I don't think the double take is really as good as the Kraber, because the Kraber is probably the most high-powered sniper rifle, but it's also the most inaccurate and it's the slowest to fire. The fire rate takes roughly 2 seconds just to reload one bullet, and it's really not that useful if you're more of a quick scoping type player. The last thing I want to cover on is mostly just the people that you're playing with. Now, Titanfall is kind of an easy game, if you ask me. I kind of like how it's more score and points based, and it's not always about how many people you kill, which I think is something that's honestly way better. But I'm just very, very excited that I can at least have some people playing with me. And if you guys want to play Xbox with me, reach me at Kirito Sponsor, which is probably my Xbox tag. And if you want to play some Titanfall 2 with me, and I'll give you some tips on the battlefield, that'll be totally okay. Titanfall 2, I would recommend, is probably the most underrated shooter I think I've ever played, even though I've never played the original. I think most players should play it if you're really into fast-paced game. And also, another recommendation I would love to tell you is, here's the thing about Titanfall 2 I really love. If you're really into more calculated and fast-paced gameplay, like if you're into playing Overwatch or TF2, games like that, I honestly think it's a very, very recommended thing to play. And I also want to give a bit of a shout-out to some of my YouTuber friends that, well, I don't really know them, but like the people that basically taught me how to play Titanfall. That'd be Frothy Load and Sir Swag. I think Sir Swag makes the best videos ever. Please leave a like on this comment and ask for more questions. See ya.